Do you think it's over? I mean, do you think I'm done?
Don't go there.
It's too late.
I know it's frustrating. There's just not a lot of stuff for women of a certain age.
Ready?
Tell me what's going on.
That's great, thank you.
I grew up watching reruns of you in The Coach's Daughter.
There's no sin in getting older.
Where am I supposed to go for 4 days?
Stay with your kids, maybe?
I have no kids.
Hey, come visit.
There's a lot on my plate, Lenny.
Well, you can't hide from us forever.
I just want you to have the best chance that medicine can provide.
Funny that we both ended up on the West Coast.
I guess you went with isolation.
And what'd you go with? Adulation?
I actually thought that I'd be making a living with my camera.
What happened?
It just seemed like a big pipe dream.
Don't leave, Joe.
I got a call about you from this NBC pilot I submitted you on.
A network pilot? Really?
You should come to my class. Teach your kids about acting.
Not qualified to do that anymore.
When Mom and Dad were dying,
Oh, here we go.
you should think about what you're doing and why.
You should do the same thing.
I gotta pack.
You'll never understand what it is to love somebody more than you love yourself. You're just too selfish.
It's called survival.
Acting. It's pretty much a hobby now, you know?
This is it for her.
What's that supposed to mean?
Maybe it means you're past your expiration date.
This is David. David's the one that is the filmographer for this new movie. And me and Mike G are going to talk to him tonight about the addiction to hope.
Welcome, David. Nice little intro. Nice intro. Woo.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me.
And Dave's out in California. We're just talking about the weather and everything. So, Dave, I also know you have a background as a police officer, but if you can give everybody a little background of who you are, and so we don't have to read your whole IMB.
Yeah.
Biography. Go ahead.
Well, it's not a big bio, but I've been a police officer with LAPD for 17 and a half years. Prior to that, I studied acting in London at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. I had a bout with cancer back in the day, which kind of realigned my career, landed me in law enforcement, and the filmmaking bug is, never died. And here we are, 17 and a half years later, I was able to produce and be the cinematographer and the editor of this film.
Oh,
so yeah, that's my 1 minute, 1 second.
No, that's great. I've seen the film, and I wanted to ask you, there's a lot of footage, a lot of angles. Where'd you film the movie at, and what made you pick that location?
Early on, so I ended up acquiring I bought acquiring is such a strange word, but I bought a cinema camera. And I reached out to the director, Marty, and I said, "Hey, I got a camera. Let's go film a movie." And he said, "Well, why don't we need a script?" And I said, "We don't need a script. Let's just go do it." And he said, "No, David, we need a script." And so I said, "Yeah, you're probably right." He wrote the film. They say write what you have access to. At least if in the independent filmmaking community, you want to, you might not have a big budget. And so you kind of write what you have access to. And the locations we had access to was one, Los Angeles, which is where we live. Right. And the second half of the film takes place in Bellingham, Washington, which is where Marty's, the director's sister, has a house, and they have some boats that we had access to. So that was kind of the basis of the film and where we were going to film. So just having access to LA, we filmed at the director's house, at the director's sister's house. So that's the locations.
Cut costs. Hey, so when you get up to Seattle, this is going to be a really interesting question I have for you. So you're walking around Washington State, in the area and you're filming. How do people react when they realize you guys were filming a movie in like such a small town? Because I used to live in Marysville up in Washington State because I worked up there for a while. So, you know, the towns are like small communities. The Puget Sound's right there. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you know,
Yep,
it's just a scenic place to live, man. It's just scenic. So how did everybody react when you guys walking around filming?
You know, living in LA, you get used to, you know, everybody just gets annoyed with filmmakers. Like, oh, these people making a movie, they're impacting traffic. Just, you know, they want to move on with their lives because there's so much filmmaking happening, and people are just sort of, it's more of a nuisance, you know, unless you're in a big, huge budget production. Even then, people get a bit annoyed. But being in a small town of Bellingham, Washington, people were just, you know, wanting to help out. You know, the rental company. Yeah, they, you know, and it's very few and far between. And it really felt like Southern hospitality up in the Pacific Northwest. They should call it the Pacific Northwest hospitality. They were just so welcoming and so kind. It was just a joy to film in. You know, we one of the scenes is there's a brief scene at the exterior of an airport where our lead actress Anne Marie Johnson comes out of the airport, and we called the local film office to talk about getting permits, and they said, no, you're fine, just, you know, just film. You know, are you filming in the airport? We said no, and they said you should be fine. Didn't need film permits. We just filmed. In fact, I thought, man, I think they just gave us some bogus information. I was fully expecting to just, you know, I was expecting, and I was prepared for local law enforcement to come and try to shut us down. And in fact, one of the shots that we didn't use in the film, but there's a shot of a police car going by, and, you know, he's in his cruiser, and he's just kind of looking to see what we're doing. We were set up with our lights, and we had a crew there, and didn't even stop by to say anything. So let's keep filming. So just very, very nice, and just a wonderful experience up there filming.
That's what's up. What was the time frame on filming this movie? And was this your biggest project yet, or you've done others?
This has been my biggest project yet. This is my, you know, I've only done one feature. This is it. I've done many short films, music videos, things like that. But yeah, this was the biggest yet.
What was your time frame from the film? And was this your biggest project yet?
Yeah, we shot it in about 23 days. We had a couple of days here and there, pickup days, but it was a 23-day process. We were in Bellingham for, I want to say, 11 to 12 of those days. The other days were here in LA. But you know, I drove all the way up to Bellingham, Washington. It was a 18-hour drive, and I loaded my car with my camera, the lenses, all the gear that we were taking, and I just trekked up there. You know, so yeah, this was certainly the biggest project.
Did you have to hire a crew while you were there to help you with the lighting, or did you just handle it all yourself?
You know, we had a crew of we had a smallish crew. A lot of it, you know, in the independent film community, you end up doing a lot of things yourselves. When you're on a big budget set, you know, the lighting guy, your gaffer, your grips, or you go to move a stand, and, you know, they'll rip your head off. They're like, hey man,
somebody's getting paid for that.
Don't be touching that. That's my job. I'm getting paid for that. Don't take my job. So it was not that way on our set. It was definitely sort of mom and pop style, very independent, low budget filmmaking. You know, I won't go into the budget because we're in the process of trying to get it sold and distributed. And we were told by our entertainment attorney, hey, listen, I'm not going to ask what you paid for it. This is what I think you guys paid for it, because this is what it looks like. It looks like you may have spent $3 to $4 million on it. And I said, well, you know, that's very generous. But you know, yeah, it was a very, very small crew. We were very proud of what we were able to accomplish with what little we had in terms of crew and resources, financially anyway.
Yeah. So when I watched it, I told my mom. My mom was like, I need to see that movie. And I told her, I said, it would resonate with you because it really touches on the transition of everyone that's up in age, and you go through as some people pass and the family members gone, and you have those skeletons in the closet that you're dealing with. And you really captured that with your videography. I mean, you really captured those moments that are intense. You did a great job with it. Just so
thank you. You know, it's been interesting because I think at first, you know, that was sort of the target audience is you know, boomers and folks that are getting close to retirement. But you know what, we've had the spectrum of ages watch the film. I think, and your daughters and your one of your daughter's boyfriends or fiance, if I'm not mistaken. They were all there, and they're younger, right? They're in their early to mid 20s.
All crying.
Yeah, you know,
it
really impacted them. What you realize is, you know, we go through life and all different stages, especially like you come out of college and you go, well, what's my purpose? What's my purpose in life? And I think that is one of the thematic elements of this film is, you know, in this case, our lead actress is at the end of her career, but she's struggling to figure out what her purpose is. And I think that sort of is cross-generationally, but certainly, certainly I think it's a wide audience. I think if people really got down to it, but certainly the main characters are all, you know, they're all in there.
It's gonna do great on Valentine's. It's gonna do great. You see, it's gonna be touching. So I wanted to ask you, David, real quick, because I like movies. I analyze stuff. You know, I'm more into music, but I also like the arts of. I think they both intertwine with each other. The lens. I like the lens you use. Why did you use that one? Some people that do movies, they use that like home video lens. It looks horrible, I think. Does the lens make a difference? I mean,
I think to a degree. I think when you're thinking about, you know, as we say, lensing a film, when you're thinking about the tools that you're going to use to tell the story that you're going to tell, you go through some screen tests, you go through some camera tests. We knew what camera we were going to use. This particular set of lenses, we used DZO zoom lenses.
Well, that's a good lens, because a lot of movies look like Hallmark, like kind of home video-ish.
Yeah,
and it has great writing, but the lens and the videography, it doesn't grasp. Because I saw the length of what Vince put out. You know what he showed us, and that lens was sharp and crisp. It looks like a movie. It looks like it grasps you. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly an exercise in knowing how to frame things and wanting to make something more cinematic. I mean, I think we're so used to, you know, especially if you're watching TV now. TV these days is, you know, especially if you're watching, whether it's Netflix or, you know, a lot of these mini series shows. I mean, they're cinematic. You know, they're making things look like movies, even though it's a TV show. It really is about, you know, framing and lensing and how much aperture you've got, you know, some of the technicalities of what your f-stop is when you're shooting something, what your aperture is, which is basically the same thing, aperture and f-stop. So we used a few set of lenses, but
So man, I'm picking your brain right now. I'm sorry, Vince, but I'm just picking his brain because I'm into this stuff.
No, do it, man. Go ahead.
I've shot videos as well. You know, I shot videos. I like videography. I edit our shows. I do stuff like that. So I'm just picking it. A person that's been there, done that. You know. So,
yeah, man.
And I analyze the movies, you know, and stuff like that. But also going to the RADA in London. How was that? Because that school looks amazing. I had a question about that, so I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I was a very shy kid growing up. I mean, I could barely talk to girls. My heart would pound out of my chest. But I ended up, in fact, I remember we moved to Texas, and I had an open elective as my junior year of high school, and I was so shy. And the counselor, she goes, "Hey, you have an open elective. What do you want to take?" And in my shyness, I was like, I don't know. And I vividly remember seeing her finger go down this list, and she goes, "Ooh, improv. That, you know, why don't you do improv?" I had no clue what that was, and I was like, "Improv, yeah, okay, improv." No clue. First day of class, it's a theater, and I'm sitting in these theater seats, and the teacher, Kirk Davidson, at the time, you know, he's like, "All right, here's the scene." He points to me, points to another student in class. He goes, "Come down here." All right. Here's the scene, go. And I was like, what do you mean go? What do you mean? I almost peed my pants. And I just, like, it was so liberating, so freeing. We had a parent teacher conference that first, I don't know, 20, 30 days of class. And he told my parents, I haven't seen anybody like David in the 16 years I've been teaching. He needs to be exploited. And my dad was like, all right, we're going to exploit him. So, you know, he said, "Hey, you know, you got to go to RADA." And I was like, "What's RADA?" You know, it's sort of like the Harvard of acting schools. It's worldwide known. And so I auditioned. I think something like 1,300 people audition on an annual basis, and
wow.
30 people get in. So I got in, and that was sort of the story on RADA. It was, I had such a great time in London. I came back complaining about the clouds. The clouds aren't the same. So it was, but yeah. So anyway, that's the path.
So you're not gonna share fish and chips, I take it.
yeah. No ice. You can't order anything with ice.
No ice. Same as Germany. No ice, man. Oh, so you look at angles, right? And this is one thing I was capturing, like when you did the hospital scene, or you did certain scenes when she's going back and forth with the director. And he was in Starship Troopers too. That was just so funny that the director from that movie, he was the sergeant in Starship Troopers. How do you know when you need to get that right angle? Like to move in or to adjust, or do you guys talk about it prior to you doing it, or do you go, okay, I know okay. So the thing is, do you storyboard before you do a scene?
We do what you call a shot list, and you basically figure out, you look at a scene and you go, all right, we need a wide shot. We need our master where everybody's in the scene. It establishes the scene, and then we're going to punch in for coverage. We're going to get his angle. We're going to get her angle. Initially, we really wanted to pay homage to classic films, and we wanted to let scenes play out on one wide shot where everything happens. A lot of classic films are that way. And, but then you bring on somebody like Clancy Brown, who's the actor that you just mentioned. He's also in Shawshank Redemption. He's the voice of Mr. Krabs. And he's just phenomenal. In fact, I just saw him on opposite Colin Farrell on The Penguin.
Right.
He's in that show, and you bring somebody like him on, and you go, we got to get in and get his coverage. One, you want to do right, but you want to treat actors right. You want to make them, especially if they're of a high caliber. Yeah. You want to get in and get a beautiful shot of their face, just them.
Right.
So we ended up doing that. Getting a lot of coverage, but a lot of it going into it. You look at a page of a script and you say, hey, this is how we're going to shoot it. We're going to get this wide master. You hopefully, and in this case, we did have a couple of days prior getting into that location to say, hey, where are we going to put the camera in this space? Is it going to be over here? We're going to then get coverage here. So it's all penned out. You go through your shot list and you go, hey, we're on the wide now. Okay, now we're on his coverage. You've already gone through some lighting tests prior to.
So do you like the music videos? Because you say you did music videos.
You know what?
I like music videos. I like shooting music videos. I mean, that's cool.
Love music videos.
Just tight shots, and then you bring them all together, and it's like,
hey. What I love about music videos is that, one, you don't have to worry about sound. And in film and in TV, you got your sound guy who's like, his boom's here. You're like, oh wait, I see your shadow here. I need you to come from over here, and you're always worried about sound. In music videos, they're usually they're lip syncing, right? They're singing to playback. Correct. And you cut the crap out of it, and you shoot so many different angles, and hopefully you're able to tell a story, right? Which is what I love. Like you can tell a story in 3 to 4 minutes. Some music videos you don't. It's all about the music and about the angles and about the artists. So, but that's what I love. There isn't really it's just very freeing. It's very creative. You got your creative juices flowing. When you're on a film, on a scripted show, you got to follow the script. You got to follow the formula, so to speak. Correct. So, yeah.
Are you working on projects right now? Do you write? Or are you like ready to get your hands dirty after this one?
Oh man, I'm always.
Your hands are dirty, but you gotta get them more.
I'm always ready to dive in. I gotta, when it rains, they say work begets work.
Right.
Because I typically just kind of, I got 17 and a half years on with LAPD, and I just want to hit 20, get my pension,
lock that pitch,
and that's it, But because of this film, like I had a woman that I worked with 8 years ago, a director, reach out and said, hey, are you still doing cinematography? Are you still, doing camera work? And I said, yeah, I am. So I'm going to be working on a project with her, a short film. I got another short film that I've got lined up for the beginning of February. I might be working on a really big budget feature film in the spring, with some character, some name actors, much like Clancy Brown.
But I'm just like, right now.
I'm just like, hey, here's the thing. When you're like desperate and you're trying to get it, it feels like there's a resistance when you have this sort of like, and this isn't my word. Somebody said, there's this sexy indifference when you kind of don't care, but you're good at what you do, and if it happens, it happens. I feel like that's the approach that I've taken, and so far things have started to kind of line up, and it's a cherry on top. Yeah. You got to be happy, and you got to be content with your own life first, and then stuff happens, and I feel like with my wife, I got 2 kids, and life is fantastic already, and everything else is just a cherry on top. So
yeah. So and somebody, and that's like all of us. We go through it, and I have this conversation. You got to meet my 2 of my daughters, and we have this conversation all the time. And I said it's just evolution. And I said, you're going to go through it. You see it because you saw it at the end of the movie. They both were bawling their eyes. And I was like, well, I said, it got to you, didn't it? And they're like, yeah, because you look at relationships that you have that you think are important. And not to get off subject. So there's this little necklace that they had for Christmas. They were giving out with it. You open up the box and there's a light in it. It's all on Instagram. So I bought them for the girls. I videotaped both girls will open them. Both of them cried. And so I'm going to send it to the company. But what I realized after watching the movie is that we all got some hope in us. And I think the thing is, if you don't follow through and you don't chase it and you give up on it too early, you don't never know where it's going to end. And it's kind of like you just, you're covering that. Hey, I'm still with the LAPD department. I still got to do my time at the police department. But yet I still got this other thing I hope that's going to be my career down the road. But you're putting time in 2 places and not sleeping.
yeah. You're burning it at both ends. That's and that's the reason for the title was the addiction of hope. You're addicted to this hope.
Oh, I love it. Oh yeah. So now that you're working on other projects and stuff, do you do any short cartoons or anything? Because I know that's like the other part of Hollywood now is all the gaming videos and the cartoon stuff. Are you working on any animation?
I have not yet dipped into that, but we just saw Mufasa yesterday, and
don't tell me I hadn't seen it.
It's a good film. Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 50 something, but the audience score was like 90. Yeah, there's another one. It's the I'm not trying to plug another film here, but it's the origin story of Mufasa.
Mufasa before he became the king.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I really enjoyed it. But I have not dipped into animated films. I think my view on animated films has obviously been elevated in the last decade with all the Pixar movies and there's quality stuff out there. But no, I have not yet. Not yet. I haven't had that privilege.
So, Mike, you got anything? Because I'm gonna ask David, one other question.
Man, it's been a pleasure meeting you, man. It's amazing. Once again, hey, you need any background? You can call me. Hey, I need somebody over there.
100%.
Hey, call Mike J. Hey.
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you.
Nah, I like art. No, I like the arts. As Vince knows, my history, I'm with music. I did music many years ago, through many years. And also I like the art of acting as well. I've never dipped into it, but I'm willing to do it. It's amazing.
I think
much respect is awesome.
I really think I think the majority of people could be amazing actors. I think the one thing that holds us back is our insecurities.
Yeah, and I don't have that. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you need.
Like, what you need, David? Yo hablo español, yo hablo inglés. Here we go.
Mira, qué bien, qué bien.
Yeah, mira qué bien eso. Oye, mi gente. No, pleasure meeting you, man.
Likewise, Mike.
You have like 20 other films under you. You ain't a cop.
Oh, man.
You be directly.
Hey, man, from your lips to God's ears, man.
Let's go.
I like that.
Let's go, bro. That's right.
Did you say you had something else, Vince?
Wrap it up.
Yeah. So no worries. Hey guys, if you get a chance to get out, the question I was going to ask you is the marketing piece for the movie. Is like, I realize you guys are talking, you got NDAs and all that stuff, but when do you think, or is it possible that they're going to get to where it's going to be on Netflix or Prime or one of those networks in the immediate future?
We've got some good conversations that are happening. Our entertainment attorney, looking through his sort of Rolodex, if you will. But the hope is that the addiction of hope is that that we're going to, what they say is it takes about a year to sell a film. Right. That's what they say. That's what I don't like to follow norms. Hopefully we can cut that in half
earlier, right?
Or a quarter of that. But the hope is, either Netflix, Amazon, something streaming, but hopefully forthcoming. We got some screenings coming up, some pretty big screenings coming up at the end of January for Martin Luther King month. So yeah.
Are they going to be all out in Are they going to be all out in California?
We don't know yet. We're working with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
Right.
We've got a potential donor sponsor who wants to put it out in theaters, potentially nationally, potentially locally, but certainly just to generate some interest and to show some of these online these streaming companies like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, that there is viability in this film, that it does get really good positive reviews and people really have enjoyed it. So,
and then and David was a cinematographer on the movie, so if once the movie comes out and you see it and you love it, just remember David was the guy that was behind the lens. With that being said, hey,
thank you for having me. Thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's too easy. And with that being said, as me and Mike G always say, keep it
rolling. Till the next time, everyone.